Steven Spielberg is sweating like a pig on a spit. He thought he buried his secrets with his victims, but Drew Barrymore lived, and now she's telling everything. Let's be clear, he didn't just groom Drew Barrymore, he consumed her childhood, spat her out, and kept casting vulnerable kids he knew wouldn't make it to 14. Now, in bombshell private conversation with Alicia Silverstone, Drew is finally naming names. Rape, murder, child stars who vanished between takes. And she says Spielberg has been hiding in plain sight for 50 years, right behind the camera, smiling for the press. And here's the kicker. Steven Spielberg isn't sweating alone. The studio heads, the predatory actors, the Californian political elites, they're drenched in sweat right now. Because his little black book, it's got their fingerprints all over it. Their parties, their payoffs, their silence in exchange for access. Tonight, we're naming names, following the money, and asking the one question Hollywood prays you never ask. How many funerals did your favourite Spielberg movie pay for? Alicia Silverstone has been busy. She caught up with her friend Drew Barrymore and recorded a conversation so insanely dark that only those who lived through childhoods in Hollywood's darkest shadows could possibly understand the full context. Alicia has dedicated the last 12 months to investigating the Hollywood paedophile ring, shining a light on its darkest corners, and in effect, taking the torch from heroes who left us too soon, including Anne Heche and Chester Bennington. And certain names from inside the Hollywood system keep reappearing. Earlier this week, Alicia dropped a series of stunning messages for her closest followers, and she made it clear that one name needs to be dragged into the light, because he's still up to his old tricks, and because sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Okay guys, we need to talk about Steven Spielberg.
Drew told Alicia that from the age of 6, she was attending parties hosted by Hollywood paedophiles. She was a regular at Studio 54, where she was encouraged to drink, smoke and flirt and act like an adult. By the age of 8, she had an alcohol problem. Hollywood was crawling with paedophiles, and she thought their sickest and most depraved criminal acts were normal experiences for a young child.
When I was 8, I had had 2 glasses of champagne. Boom, I was like tipsy and, you know, bubbly and the life of the party. And I felt so good. All my problem had seemed, you know, to disappear for that hour that I was out of it. Till I was 9 and I started casually drinking and realized,
Where would you get alcohol from at 9?
Parties, friends, bars, clubs.
What were you doing at bars at 9?
A lot of the time it was for parties that I was invited to. A lot of the time I would walk up and they would be like, oh, it's little Drew Barrymore. Come right in, good publicity, you know?
As a child with an absent father and irresponsible mother, Drew was so lost in the nightmare of the Hollywood system that she even thought that she loved her abuser. She spent entire weekends with him alone. And being a child, she let things slip.
I may end up running off with you myself, you know.
That's what Steven says.
Steven? It's Steven Spielberg?
Yeah. Can I say hi to Steven?
Sure, you want to say hi to Steven?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, Steven, I love you.
The other girl in the infamous photo of Steven Spielberg and Heather O'Rourke, that's Drew Barrymore. The only difference between Drew Barrymore and her friend Heather O'Rourke was that she lived to tell the tale.
I had an amazing relationship with Heather. I absolutely adored that little girl.
Alicia told Drew that she knows about Heather's death, and the tragic details matched what Alicia says everybody in Hollywood knows. But first, just quickly, if you're paying for a major VPN, you need to cancel your subscription. This is not a drill. Proton is compromised by the WFNDU. ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, NordPIA, they're all owned by one Tel Aviv-linked company. You're paying them to protect your privacy, and they're laughing at you. VP.net/TPV is the opposite. Zero-knowledge cryptography, open source, no backdoors. They literally can't see your activity, even if forced. Privacy guaranteed by math, not promises. Check it out at vp.net/TPV. Now, back to Alicia's bombshell conversation with Drew Barrymore. She says, Drew is waking up and must be protected. She's gaining the courage to speak out and must be allowed to continue at her own pace. Alicia says she's speaking out because her friend Brittany Murphy lost her life to the Hollywood system, And she can't let that happen to anybody else.
Drew must be protected at all costs. I just wish I had spoken out for Brittany before she was killed. So I'm doing this for Drew. I freaking love you, Drew. Okay, listen to this, guys.
I didn't get it. Not for years. I just thought that's how adults were, you know? Like, that's just what happened. And then I'm in my late 20s and I'm telling a friend a funny story, and she's just like staring at me with this look. And I was like, oh.
Kids who are abused don't always understand it when it's happening. It takes years to untangle, decades sometimes. But here's what you need to know. When that kid grows up and comes face to face with their abuser, all that processing goes out the window. What's left is raw, messy, and erratic.
Venture a guess about who is about to join us right now?
First person that cared about me.
Yeah. Please welcome the man behind countless blockbusters, Oscar, Golden Globe, and Emmy Award-winning director who needs no introduction, Steven Spielberg.
Oh, Drew face. I still care about you. I've always cared about you. Ever since that first time this little blonde hurricane walked into an audition in my office.
That's not happiness. That's trauma. Pure and simple.
I always had older friends. As I said then, they were friends, but they weren't really friends. At first, I really didn't know the difference. I was like 6 years old, hanging out with a bunch of 25-year-olds.
Alicia says that when Drew realised what happened to her friend Heather O'Rourke, when the pure horror of her final days finally sank in, she understood why she had a duty to speak out.
So here's the thing. He sat me down and he said, this happens. Girls die. It's normal. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, normal. Like, that made sense to me. I was on sets where girls would just disappear, and I didn't think twice. It took me until I was like 30 to go, wait a second, that's not normal. That's never been normal. What the hell was I thinking?
We've got more to unpack, much more. Drew reveals what really happened to Heather O'Rourke. Because this isn't just about the past, it's about what's still happening right now. This is where it gets dangerous. Don't go anywhere. Drew Barrymore said she first became aware of the dark side of Hollywood after realising that eating human flesh, drinking child's blood, and having inappropriate liaisons with children is not the way most adults in America behave. She played a cannibal in the Netflix drama Santa Clarita Diet. Talk about Hollywood hiding in plain sight.
Living in this day and age where you couldn't do like a Leave It to Beaver at this point, like it just wouldn't work. We're so far gone that I think you need to eat people. Just to sort of have that be, you know, your morning conversation.
What's going to happen in 30 years?
I don't know. I mean, you know, a full-blown cannibalism or something.
Yeah.
Drew described her cannibalistic character as a woman who's dynamic but wrong, but living her best life herself, giving it her full Oprah. The full Oprah. That quote hits differently in 2026, given what we learned in the Epstein files about Oprah and Ellen DeGeneres, and their taste for baby flesh. Isaac Cappy said he first became aware of the dark side of Hollywood after realising he was in the middle of some crazy shit as a child in Los Angeles. The situation had to punch me in the face before I realised I was in the middle of some crazy shit, said Cappy, who hinted strongly that Spielberg had inappropriate relations with him. Cappy also challenged Spielberg to sue him. He said he knew so many of Spielberg's secrets, he would destroy the veteran director in court.
Steven Spielberg is a pedophile. See how easy that was, Corey? I didn't need $10 million. I just said it. Oh, I'm not going to talk about Tom Hanks either, who is also a pedophile. Tom Hanks, folks, is a pedophile.
For Spielberg, allegations of this nature from those who have worked with him are nothing new. Crispin Glover, who played Marty McFly's dad in Back to the Future, accused Spielberg of paedophilia in a 2013 essay. Even Spielberg's adopted daughter has her own tragic story of abuse and betrayal. Then there's Brandon Bug Hall, best known for playing the lovable alfalfa in the Spielberg-produced Little Rascals, who says he was treated like a piece of meat and passed around.
And then Steven Spielberg was casting for a movie called Little Rascals. Some of you might have seen it. And as you know, I got the job. I had never auditioned for a movie before. I had a big open call. I remember the very first day of filming. I still have this crystal clear memory. I remember strutting into a week, 2 weeks. I don't really know exactly how long. 2 men from that set began sexually abusing me. And I've thought a lot about that. I've thought a lot about how these predators have some sort of sixth sense for vulnerable kids, right? I still remember really being consciously aware of the fact that, at least how I perceived it at the time, 8 years old, that somebody wasn't protecting me, that I was supposed to be protected, and that went on. The abuse went on from movie to movie, from project to project for quite a few years after that.
Then, of course, there's Heather O'Rourke, Drew Barrymore's friend. Heather played the character Carol Ann Freeling in all 3 of Steven Spielberg's Poltergeist films. She died in 1988 at the age of 12 from intestinal stenosis, a severe bowel obstruction. According to Alicia, everybody in Hollywood knows that Heather was violently raped on the set of a TV show called Rocky Road, which led to her tragic death. The severe bowel obstruction was caused by Hollywood executives. One of the stars of the show, who spent his life bouncing in and out of rehab because of his experience as a child star, described the atmosphere on that tragic day.
I had just turned 12 or 13. I was the same age as the actress coming in, maybe a little older. We had been shooting for months, and I was old news. They knew I would do what they wanted, but they always wanted someone new. This was someone new, and someone they all knew. They had it set up like a peep show almost. So she had finished shooting that morning, and they brought her out on a stage. The stage was used most of the time for a game show that was taped there. That game show is still on today. I can't watch it knowing what happened to her there. They brought her out, and the front 4 rows of this theater were filled with guys who were already rubbing themselves. The girl was wearing a bikini. The show took place around a beach just so they could make these girls wear next to nothing. They had her walk around under the lights. The lights were focused on her, and she couldn't really see out to the audience. She was squinting. It must have been blinding for her. They had her walk back and forth. Then they had her start dancing. All of these guys were doing what another star at that same studio got busted for. This went on for about 20 minutes. Then 3 of the guys took her to a different area of the studio.
45 minutes later, one of those 3 Hollywood pedophiles came running out in a panic and called for the set medic. The creeps had gone too far with O'Rourke, and the situation was critical. They had to send for an ambulance. Later, they told O'Rourke's parents a bullshit story to cover their tracks. 2 weeks later, the show finished shooting 6 episodes all at once, and then everybody was sent on their way forever. Nobody wanted the kids around or any witnesses to what happened. All in a day's work in Hollywood, which veteran James Woods describes as a place 100 times more evil than your worst fears. We need more actors like Bug Hall, Alicia Silverstone and Drew Barrymore to form a group, step up and release names. No more paydays to keep quiet. It's not easy to talk about the worst horrors known to man, perpetrated by Hollywood's most vile predators. But they'll be saving every other child actor who is or will be going through the same hell inflicted upon them by the same Hollywood creeps. Now, listen up. We're up against a paedophile cult that's been operating for nearly 9,000 years. They've hijacked DC, the mainstream media, Hollywood, the entertainment industry, and they're flooding the world with its poison. Another generation is being stolen in plain sight. New victims are created every single day, in their hundreds of thousands. Enough is enough. This trafficking empire, this adrenochrome machine, must be ripped out root and branch. No more hiding, no more excuses, no more looking the other way. The time to act is now. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the elites, but we need your help.